Hello and welcome everyone. I am Andrew Tropin and I am free and open source software developer, author of RD and Guix home projects. And on this stream series we usually talk about development tools, practices, share part of my usual workday, and also do some work towards a sustainable ethical business. On the previous stream we discussed a lot of topics, and let's recap them. Various tips and tricks on how to make projects be more efficient and provide more value. We talked about streaming setup, why we need streaming at all, did the different fixes on Qt, updated OBS packages and OBS plugins. Also, we talked about opening company, taxes, accounting, how to find contracts, how to make them, how to sign them. We did it very briefly, but still talked about it. Also, we talked about Nginx project as a project and also as a software, took a look at its configuration and also how it's packaged for Guix, and we explored a Guix system service which allows to configure Nginx and Guix and deploy it. Also, we did a lot of work related to tests in Guile and Scheme in general. We explored Surface 64 and possible improvements for it. We slightly freezed this topic for a while to get some more exciting stuff, and we will back to it soon, I guess. Also, we did a lot of code review, programming, answering emails, and other work related to free and open source software projects. And today's topic is very exciting, and it's related to tree-sitter and structural editing. Hello, Antares. Let's see what we have. Let's talk about tree-sitter in general. For people who are not yet familiar with it, there is a good talk called Tree-sitter, a new parsing system for programming tools. It's talk by Max Bransfeld, sorry for mispronunciation, and he covers and highlights important features of tree-sitter. And to be short, it's a library or a framework which allows to declare a grammar for the language and parse this the text representation of the source code in syntax tree and actually do it incrementally. So every time you update your text file, you don't need to reparse the whole text file. You just do it incrementally and very efficiently. Also, it allows to handle errors. So if you save your buffer or save your file in some intermediate, not complete state, when you not finished your sentence or your identifier or something else, it will handle those errors gracefully. And how it works also covered by this talk, so I recommend to take a look at it and get more details on it. Today we will be focusing on the practice on the application of tree-sitter in Emacs 29. And the second link is an article which discuss what is already in Emacs 29 and what is already possible with tree-sitter. Also, there is a tree-sitter starter guide which explains how you can write major mods for Emacs to use tree-sitter. That describes how to add iMenu support, how to make syntax highlighting rules, and so on. It's not very relevant for our today's stream, but it's still quite interesting, and if you plan to migrate to tree-sitter in the future, I think it can be very helpful. And especially if you want to develop a major mod for your programming language, which supports, which backed by tree-sitter, it's really a good resource to look at. I already briefly went through all those links, so I have a very brief understanding of what we will be doing today, but it's still kind of improvisation, and we'll see if we get some meaningful result at the end of the stream. Of course, for tree-seater to work, we need grammars, which actually defines the structure of our language and allows to make a parser, which will be generating this syntax tree from the source code. And for this, we will be using a few more links, which contains tree-seater grammars and instructions how to build them. And first link is a repository, which contains some building scripts which can help us to build tree-seater grammars for Emacs. This is some specific stuff like Emacs model H and tree-seater lang in files, which we need to add to tree-seater grammars in order to be able to produce dynamically loadable libraries, which we can use in Emacs later. Hi, Demis. Nice to see you here too. Okay. We already have some work related to Emacs, tree-seater, and Guix. And first email I found is tree-seater grammars for Emacs Mimo by Murad. And he experimented with Emacs tree-seater built-in support. And what he basically did in this thread, he described how to provide build tree-seater grammars for Emacs using tree-seater extra load pass. Also, he made an example of tree-seater packages, which can be built with Guix package manager. And also, he provided a package for Emacs itself with tree-seater support. And that's already quite good. It's almost enough to enable tree-seater support in Emacs. And I already started some work on tree-seater support in Guix. I merged a patch from another person. Let me see. Let's open my Git log for Guix. And here, let's see Emacs next enable tree-seater support. It is a patch proposed by Declan Tsain. What is happening here? We're just updating Emacs to a newer version. Also, we add tree-seater to the list of inputs. And this way, Emacs will be built with tree-seater support. Also, I updated the definition of Emacs package in RD, which uses more recent version and which inherits those inputs from Guix Emacs package. And this way, if I take a look at system configuration variable, I will see that we have tree-seater here. That means that our Emacs is built with tree-seater support. And to make sure if it is, we will call tree-seat available p function, which returns true. That means that we have a tree-seater support in our Emacs already, but the thing that we really need is grammars, which actually do the heavy lifting and parsing the files and provide all the necessary functionality. Oh, yeah, I saw your patch to mailing list, and it was done exactly when I was working on RD package locally. I didn't commit it yet, so yeah, it's probably outdated, but let's take a look at it. Whoops. work inbox, packages Emacs add 3-seater support. Demis proposed almost the same change which already merged in original Guix repository, which adds 3-seater to the list of inputs, which is actually what we want. We don't even need a 3-seater with 3-seater flag, because as I understand, it automatically enabled if 3-seater package available. Okay, let's reply to it and make everyone know who will be visiting this patch thread that this support is already present in Guix repository. Upstream. Okay. Hi, Demis. Thank you very much for the patch. You know, I still want to be polite and nice when replying to the patches, even knowing that Demis is watching me right now. Package upstream Emacs next Guix package already have 3-seater input, 3-seater support enabled. I will update Emacs next. I don't remember the name of the package. Emacs next GTK probably stable. So it's RDS Emacs. So it will have 3-seater support as well. And I will add superseded X source hat patch set update superseded to update the status of the patch in source hat interface. Okay, that's it, I guess. I see another message from you, Demis, but I will reply to it later, probably tomorrow. Okay, see you in a few minutes then. Going back to the grammars. We already have a grammar example from Murat, but also I know that there are few there are a few grammars by Alexander Vitizev, and here we see a function which returns a package for Emacs 3-seater grammar, and here we see a bunch of actual packages for different languages: C, C++, CSS, C#, Go, HTML, JavaScript, JSON or JavaScript, Python, Rust, TypeScript, Bash, Elixir, Hex, Dockerfile, Haskell, CMake, Toml, YAML. Okay, it's already quite impressive number of 3-seater grammars. And we have a newer 3-seater package here. Let's see what version of 3-seater we have in Guix repository. It's text editors, I guess. And here we have 3-seater. Actually, we have the same version in the Guix repository. Maybe it's even the package submitted by Alexander, I'm not sure. looks very similar. Okay. We can actually take a look. Okay, it seems this patch was provided by Lewis. Okay. Let's take a look at the grammar package definition. We see that the function which returns a Guix package accepts a few arguments like language, version, commit, hash, и synopsis. And everything is quite clear, I guess. A language and version of the grammar, commit, which we will use for the obtaining source code, hash, it is a hash of those source code to be sure that we're downloading exactly the same version of the source code, and synopsis is a description. For our package. Looks good so far. Let's see what we have in the actual package definition. Name, version, homepage. Okay, we have name constructed from the language. We have homepage. We have some logic for generating homepage and the actual URL for the repository with the grammar. And here we see that for a few different languages, we obtain grammars from different organizations and resetter. From it's probably personal accounts where the grammars, resetter grammars for these languages hosted. Okay, that works. Also, we have some logic related to src directory. For some reason, if we have lang TypeScript, they use tsx subdirectory for the source code. I don't know why. Let's see. We have github.com/treesitter TypeScript. Here we have TypeScript and tsx. Probably tsx is some kind of extended grammar which contains support for some nested code or maybe some other features. Let's see what tsx is. Probably Demis is aware what's the difference. Probably it's somehow related to JSX. But okay, it works for me. Probably tsx is a superset, and that is why using it for TypeScript should also work. Okay, let's get back to our package definition. And of course, we need to do the same for the resulting binary, for resulting library. Okay, this way it's clear how those things are generated, how we obtain the source code, and also what we do to prepare the source code for the build phase. We add a patch, and we will explore what this patch contains in a few seconds, I guess. And also we use a snippet for moving some stuff to the different locations. src directory. src directory okay, and we place grammar.js to src grammar.js, and also we place src Emacs module h and src three-seater length to the src directory as well. Okay, let's take a look at the structure of the folders one more time. Here we have src subdirectory, and it basically places grammar.js inside src directory. Okay, and those files needed for building Emacs Emacs specific version of the three-seater library that can be loaded by Emacs dynamic modules to the same directory. Okay, that works for me. Let's see what else we have here. And here we have some code which modifying standard phases for GNU build system, which removes configure phase, because we probably mimic here the script provided in this repository. Actually, this comment says actually the same. We have this script in a three-seater module for building three-seater libraries for Emacs, which can be loaded as dynamic modules in Emacs. And inside this package definition, we just mimic the steps of the script. Okay, it works for me. Let's take this code. Let's take this code and copy it to rd Emacs xyz packages. Actually, when I will test it on my local setup, I will move it to Guix upstream probably. It will require some cleanup, I guess, but still. Okay, we have everything that we want here. Let's take some actual grammar. Let's take it for HTML. I would like to see what the latest version for the HTML grammar. HTML three-seater here. Oops. The latest version is 19. And let's see if all arguments language, version, commit, hash, and synopsis. Looks good to me. That means that we can already build a grammar. And let's try to do so. Let's open eShell for our project. And inside this eShell, we will say Guix build -l src -e. -l sets the load path, and -e allows to define an expression which should return a package. And here we will use rd packages Emacs xyz, Emacs Emacs three-seater grammar HTML. Okay, we got an error. Failed to evaluate expression. Interesting. Bad use of syntactic keyword. Very interesting. Okay, let's do it the other way. I will launch a REPL. I will connect to this REPL with Geyser Connect, and we'll evaluate this model. And now I get a more meaningful error, which complains about bad use of underscore. It happens because we didn't add ICE9 match model to the list of imports, and let's try to do the same. And now it complains about search patches. Okay, according to search patches, we have a special function defined in the Alexander's repository for searching patches, but we will use just a basic search patches, but slightly modified. But search patches actually looks at the directory inside Guix source code, not RD source code, so we will need to adjust the behavior of search patches. But before it, let's let's take a look at this patch and what it contains, and let's add them to our repository. This one. Okay, we see the patch made by Murad, which just basically creates Emacs module H file and src three-seater lang in. Okay. It is one of possible ways to add the source code from this repository, tree-seater model, to the Guix package. Let's see the raw version of this file, and let's copy the link. And after that, let's navigate to patches, and let's call eww diff mod. Okay, we have our patch, not our patch, but the patch opened in Emacs, and now let's save it. Do you remember how to save the buffer? I use Ctrl+X, Ctrl+W, which is a write file function, and it asks for the patch name. I will use this one. Okay, and now we have this file here, tree-seater model, and let's apply this patch. What we need to do. I know that search patches uses a parameter, but I don't remember which one. Let's see. I know that I have rd patch path variable in rd packages, and I will use this variable for looking for this patch. Just to demonstrate the problem, here it compiles the model successfully, but if I try to build this package, let's see. Okay, use Guix REPL. Don't remember the name of the monad REPL, yep. For some reason it doesn't autocomplete it. But okay, and if I try to do, let's switch the current model in the REPL to RD packages, Emacs XYZ, and let's try to build Emacs tree-seater grammar HTML. And now it complains that patch not found, which is expected because, as I said earlier, search patches looking for the patch inside Guix source code, inside the directory, which is different from where our patch is located. And that is why we need to provide information by binding dynamic variable to the different value. And let's see, search patches. I look for either example where this parameter is used, or for the function definition. Okay, it takes a little more time than I expected, and it doesn't show the examples with parameter because it's probably a multi-line. So let's now I am looking for something like test namespace, which can contain some examples of search patches usages. It's still a lot of GNU packages Actually, I can use something like this. Okay, what I did here, I started a search in subdirectory, so it provides less results to me. And unfortunately, search patches is not defined here in the Guix subdirectory. Maybe defined here. Oh, okay, I found it. Search patches. It uses patch pass variable. And where our patch pass variable defined? Patch pass. Oh, we can actually see the example of parameterized usage. And we see how patch path variable defined. It's a parameter. So here you can see that we actually can bind this variable dynamically to update the behavior of patch search function. I mean search patches function. And here is the example. We just do something like this. Parameterize patch path, and I guess we just need the value here. And after that, we need to wrap our search patches in parameterize. Let's see if it works now. Okay, warning possibly unbound variable. That's because we didn't import it. But let's just do rd packages. This syntax with at sign means that take this symbol from this model. Okay, now let's compile it one more time, and let's see if it builds now. Okay, you can see that we got some results here, and let's take a look at the content. Lib3setter HTML so was built, and a shared directory with the license. Very good. Actually, we can try if this grammar works or not. Don't you need to add signs? No, I don't. There is a difference between add sign and to add signs. To add signs allows to access private variables which are not exported, but it can break in some situations. So it's not generally recommended to use to add signs. And if you can import models automatically in the model definition, and if you want to do it in a little more ad hoc manner, like I do it right now, you can use one add sign. And if something really requires you to use two add signs, you can actually use it, but try not to do it. Okay, let's go back to our library. Now let's use it. For this, I will launch another Emacs instance to make sure we don't break anything on our primary Emacs instance, and let's copy the path to the library, and let's see. Do you remember? Oh, okay, it's here. Tree seed extra path set q extra load pass, and let's see what it accepts. Additional directories to look for three-seater language definitions. Very nice. And we set it to our newly built package. I try to save this file. We set our three-seat extra load pass, I guess, to the list. And let's try three-seat available. Okay, let's even write it here. Three-seat available p. It returns true, but if we ask for HTML, it returns an error. Actually, in my notes, oh, okay, it's not available, but ready. Ready p. Cannot activate three-seater because language grammar for HTML is unavailable, not found. lib3seater HTML or lib3seater HTML.so, no such file directory. And now let's set our three-seat extra load pass to the value of our newly built grammar, and let's see. Nice. You can see at the bottom in our echo area that this function returns true right now. That means that we can open some HTML file. I don't know which one. Let's say pages Guix. Oops, not org, but okay. It takes some time to load environment because it's done in not very efficient way, but I will update it someday, but not right now. And let's see. Here I call iMenu and I see the structure of the file, and this structure is based on heading levels. And if I add some nested heading like h3 here, h3 here, something here, you can see how it works. Okay, this is a first thing that you can notice. And another thing, let's take a look at this. XML semicolon length has different color. However, I'm not sure if it should have different color. And you know, the measure mode is XHTML plus. But let's see what we have for three-seater mode for HTML. HTML TS mode. And now you see that the highlight of the HTML file is different, and now XML length highlighted differently. It now do it only with one color, which is correct in my opinion, and it was incorrect with our basic HTML mode. Okay, let's see what we have in iMenu. In iMenu you have a lot of elements and you can navigate them like this, and you see that you can navigate even in one line using a few different elements. It's cool. It's maybe not that useful to have iMenu return such list of elements, because, you know, headers looks more convenient to me, but it's not a big problem. We can fix it later, but we can see that we already have three-seater works and it parses our HTML file correctly, and now the colors, the highlighting of the syntax is correct, and it now uses not the regular expressions to highlight our syntax, but the actual syntax tree, which is much more robust and efficient solution. Okay, I also wrote down a few functions that I wanted to try when we actually built a grammar for the text file. But before that, let's try to ident this file. Whoa, whoa! You can see that it was indented correctly. Let's get back to the plain structure without indentation and enable HTML basic mode. And let's try to ident. Okay, indentation works here as well. Let's see at this line. How it is indented. Probably the indentation works correctly in both cases. And here we see the difference. This one is not indented, which is probably more correct than it was with basic HTML mode. Because, you know, we opened a DD tag, and now we have a new line here, and the content of DD tag continues from the beginning of the line. And the same for p tag. The content of the p tag itself is not indented, which is probably right. And you can see even difference in indentation. If you don't like how it's indented, and if you want to ident this stuff as well, this literal string content of paragraph tag, you can actually do it too, but this looks right for me. I'm already excited about the features we get from tree-sitter. Because for me it's really cool that we are going towards this way of structural representation of the source code, not text-based. And it is much more powerful and reliable. Okay, let's see what we have here. We already used tree-sitter extra load pass. Also, there is a special variable called measure mod remap a list, which allows to use a different measure mod for our usual mod. And here we can map HTML to HTML TS mod and C mod to CTS mod and so on. So if we know that our Emacs built with tree-sitter and the grammar for Emacs is available, we can just set this mapping, and all the basic mod will be substituted and more enhanced version with tree-sitter for the measure mod will be used. And I mentioned an article called tree-sitter Emacs in Emacs 29 and beyond. And here the author explains that originally they tried to extend the basic mod with tree-sitter support, but later they decided to make a separate mod. So every mod which backed by tree-sitter use TS, I don't know, suffix or middle part in the mod, which make it explicit that it's not original mod, but a mod baked by tree-sitter. And this way we can migrate from our usual mods to tree-sitter version. Okay, we already found out how to check if the grammar for our language loaded, and now let's use Tresit Explore mode. I don't know what this function does, but I guess it provide us with another buffer which shows the tree structure, the syntax tree of our document. Language, it asks for language, and I use HTML. And here you can see as expressions, which represents the syntax tree for our document, HTML document. And let's click on something. Nothing happens when I click on it. I expected it to navigate to different parts of the original buffer, but okay, not a big problem. It's cool to know that at least somehow we can see the parsed tree, and if we update something, like I guess this one is related to header, and this is a text, and this one is related to body, right? Oh, it works the other way around. You can see that when I click an original buffer and select code, it's selected in the buffer with grammar, which is very nice. It really simplifies the development of tools for tree-sitter. And here, let's select the body. We can see it like this, and let's add a tag here. You can see when I add p, it says error. And now it complains about an error. Why do you do it? Okay. Error. Not error. Okay, error again. Okay, not yet clear why it complains sometimes and doesn't complain the other time. It says error when I type two tags without content between those things, and when I type something, now it works. Yeah, it's probably because in the grammar it always has to be some text between p headers. What about HR? I remember that there's a tag called HR. Okay. And as I remember, it can be used without closing tag. And let's see. Tag name. But it doesn't have a closing pair. I just testing some use cases, some rare use cases for valid HTML. I don't remember the actual rules for HTML, but I remember that some text can be used without closing pair, and some text can be used without text between between parts. And now we see that it doesn't complain about errors. Whoa, what happened? Let's see, do we have something related to error here? No, it doesn't complain, but it will complain if I remove the text in p tag, I guess. No? Okay, it's still not completely clear how it works, but it already works. We are sure. Oh, it's hr slash. Thank you. Let me try it. Oops. Let's hr. Let's use it. As you can see that syntax highlighting is broken, and here is an error. And somehow it works. Let's see. Self-closing tag. Okay, it parsed correctly. I'm still not sure what happens under the hood because I'm not very familiar with tree-seater implementation. But, it even handles the cases. This grammar for tree-seater even handles the cases of self-closing tag, which is very nice. Okay, let's see what we have here. I found tree-seater things around function looking through the documentation, and I would like to try it. I expected to return the beginning and the end position of h1 tag. Okay. Tree seat around things around. Define at point, thing at point. Let's see the documentation. Tree seat thing at point. Okay, it's something that I didn't expect, because I expected this function to return me some information related to the current node, but it accepts pattern. Which is not what I would like to experiment with right now. Okay, let's take a look at other functions. Oh, tree node at point like this. Cool. It returns me F5 characters from here to here, I guess, for the class. Okay, let's do the same call here. It returns 2 characters for h1, and let's do the same Whoops. Let's do the same thing here. And it says tree-seed node for the only one character. Okay, if I select the whole region, okay, it will. Oops. It probably talks about this stuff under the point, which is text. And what about this stuff? Attribute value. Okay, this way we can actually understand what is under our point according to the grammar. Very cool. Boom, boom. Tree-seed search forward go to function definition end. I don't know if it works for HTML, but let's try it. As we can see that we don't have any function definitions in our syntax tree. That is why let's put our cursor here. Let's get our node type, which is attribute value, and now let's use attribute value wrong type argument tree-seed not p attribute value. Tree-seed search forward go to. It accepts a node, predicate, and optional start backward all. Stop at the first node after node that matches predicate. Let's see. Let's take tree-seed node at point, and we will use inside this one. Okay, it either requires a string or function p. Why does this thing didn't work then? Wrong type argument tree-seed not p. Maybe I missed something. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, it may be quoted attribute value. Or just attribute value. Hmm. Attribute value. I guess I wrote it right, but let's use quoted attribute value. Let's see what tree seat node p return true if the object is a tree-seater node. Okay, let's remove this end. Interesting. Maybe it requires additional argument. Okay. I guess we can find it out later. What about which function mod? There is a mod which shows the current place in the source code, which called which function. And for this HTML mod, it doesn't work because there is no function. Okay, it's kind of expected. What else interesting we can take from it? To reset things around. Things around. Okay, position, regular expression, optional predicate. Previous, next, and parent thing around position. Pom pom. Web ref next, blah blah blah. As the same. Which can be either string, regexp, or a cons cell. Okay, let's explore the API of TreeSeed later, because it's not that useful right now, because we don't write any packages or something. And let's take a look at the package which actually uses this TreeSeed API to do to make it possible to do structural editing and navigation. And for this, we will take a look at Combobulate package, which already has support for many cool stuff. Let's take a look at Combobulate repository. We have this a few packages, a few languages already supported: CSS, HTML, JavaScript, Python, YAML, and okay, that's already enough for our experiments. Let's take the source code and build package for it. Pum pum. The source code is here. Let's take some package definition and let's reuse it. Define public, how we will call it, Emacs Combobulate version. Which version? Is there any releases yet? No releases yet. Okay, let's call it 0.0 revision commit. Let's edit. Commit latest commit this one. Let's copy it and revision 0 like this. Actually, we already have a structural editing in Lisp languages, which is done with Paradit, Smart Parents, or some other packages, but it still works not on actual syntax trees, but on some hacks like regular expressions and so on. That is why having a tree setter is also beneficial for Lisp languages. Okay, source code. For the source code, we will be using this URL. Also, it will be absolutely wonderful if you can use the same package for structural editing, not only in Lisp languages, but in all languages. It means that you won't need a separate implementation for separate packages for org mode, for scheme code, for HTML, or any other languages which add this structural navigation. You will need only one package and tree setter grammars, and you will get almost anything out of the box. Of course, there's some specific of each language, and each language has slightly different syntax tree, and so this package will need to know these details. But if it's designed in a good way, in extendable way, it will be relatively easy to add support for many different languages, and you won't need regular expressions and all other hacks which doesn't provide enough reliability, enough performance to make this package which adds structural editing to all those languages. Okay, let's change the hash to make sure it will fail. Let's remove all the stuff and native inputs, I guess. What are dependencies of Combobulate? Is it packaged in Guix? Let me check. Guix search Combobulate. No, it doesn't. And let's see, maybe someone wrote a patch for it. Let's see, Combobulate. Not yet. Okay, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Can you maybe feed it the thing at point function from earlier? Yeah, probably. But you know, I don't want to spend too much time experimenting with tree setter API right now, because I want a more interesting results like actual structural editing to be done today. That is why we will focus on Combobulate right now. and maybe later we'll explore tree-setter API in more details. Tree-set, I mean, the tree-set is built-in package for tree-setter in Emacs 29. Okay, I wanted to find dependencies for Combobulate. It requires only Emacs 29, which is cool and not cool at the same moment because the build can fail. Because by default, build is done with different version of Emacs, but we can fix it. Okay, it doesn't have any dependencies, which is very nice. Homepage. Let's Okay, let's just copy it and let's read it later. Okay, we have everything we need. Now let's re-evaluate this model and let's build Emacs Combobulate. Build failed. Okay, and what's the actual error message? Can you provide it to me, please? Backtrace. How to get actually it is evaluated on the daemon side, but I need to somehow obtain the error message to get the value of the expected hash for the source code. Okay. Oh, we have the output here in our REPL stdout and actual hash here. Okay, that works. That works for me. And now let's do the same steps. Whoops. The same steps again. Status 100. And I already expect what's happening here. Let's see a build log. It probably will complain about tree-seed unavailable. Yep, cannot open load file, no such file or directory tree-seed. It is because it is built with Emacs 28, which doesn't have tree-seed yet, and we need to change our arguments and set Emacs to Emacs next big GTK. Oh, actually, it should be enough. It should be enough. Emacs next p GTK. And now it will fail because I don't. Oh, it doesn't. Cool. Probably Emacs packages Emacs is already imported here. Very good. Let's see. Let's see. It may seems very small, like a slightly better syntax highlighting and something like that, but actually it's really cool because now you can operate on the syntax of your language or on the elements like function definitions, function arguments, I don't know, vectors, pairs, hash maps, and so on in programmatic way. And this programmatic way actually means the operation on the parts of the language, not on some regular expressions and all that stuff. Oh, it didn't show any results. Okay, it was built native Emacs Lisp. Cool, very cool. Let's see what we can do with it. Now we can use this package in our Emacs extra packages. Right here, append a list Emacs Combobulate, and let's rebuild my home environment. Sure, I didn't export it. RD packages Emacs XYZ. Whoops. Cool, that actually answers my question on mailing list about packaging Emacs packages that leverage three-seater. Thanks. I'm not sure what actually answers your question, but probably the code related to Emacs three-seater grammar or to actual packages. Okay, I got it. Probably you talk about arguments, which sets Emacs to Emacs next PGTK, and this way we can package stuff relying on tree seed. I don't know if we can actually package it here, or maybe we need to do something like this. I will post something related to it in Emacs or in RD Devil or RD patches, or not RD, Guix Devil or Guix patches, and will ask people to give a feedback on how we can package some Emacs packages for the next version of Emacs. because this package won't work with Emacs 28 when someone will try to install it, and that is why I'm not sure if we can package it like this in Guix. Also, according to packaging three-seater grammars, we will need a little more work to make those grammars automatically picked by Emacs, probably from environment variables, as it done for OBS plugins, for example. I think we will need to implement kinda this approach, kinda similar approach. But we will do it later, not right now. Right now we need to achieve an actual structural editing in Emacs, which will be, wonderful. Only proof of concept, but very valuable proof of concept, I guess. It still builds the profile with less than 200 packages. Not happy with this performance, with the performance of profile building procedure, but I don't know how easy it is to make it faster, and does it make sense to spend time working on the improvement for this build procedure if I do it relatively rare. Okay, let's open another Emacs instance, and let's open a scratch buffer, and let's copy this stuff here, this stuff here, and combo. We don't have Combobulate mod here. Let's Combobulate. We have the package. Oh, it's not afterloaded. Okay, not a big problem. Okay, that's not a problem. Let's close our previous instance and let's do require Combobulate like this. Boom. And now we have a lot of stuff here. Okay. Let's go to scratch buffer. Let's see. We have support for HTML, and now let's open whoops, work. It was a real pain to edit HTML files, and actually it's still the pain in most cases, but with three-seater it will be much more easier and much more pleasant to edit them, because with three-seater we will be able to implement structural editing, and it will be a joy editing them. A little, verbose syntax is not a big problem in my opinion. The structural editing and navigation is awesome. And also, in the future, I guess we will be able to drop the textual representation of the source code and store it in some format which is already some kind of syntax tree, and show the textual representation only, for showing it to the user. and we won't store it in files with text and so on. But it's not quite near future, I guess. It will happen a little later. Do I have a video on how to interact with Guile REPL to build package definitions and so on? I did it on some of the previous streams, and due to naming of the streams, I don't remember which one. The naming is not perfect, but you probably can find one of the previous streams in the stream series where I explore, probably it was the first one or the second one or somewhere in between, where I explore the functionality for interacting with REPL. And also I have a few helpers in RD in tests directory for building packages from the source code. You can take a look at the tests directory in RD to find examples on how to do it from the buffer, not even from the REPL. And according to what I did today, it's probably on Guix blog. The information about it is available on Guix blog. Maybe in this one. I'm not sure. No, not this one. Tags, maybe inside tags. No, okay. Okay, I can't find it easily. But you basically need to call use monad Guix REPL monad. Is it correct? REPL monad REPL. And after that you can call help Guix, I guess, and it will show available commands. This is actually a very important part of workflow for Guix development, and for the huge amount of time I didn't use REPL too much in the Guix because it was not so easy to explore all those functions to make it possible to work with Guix packages and other stuff in the REPL. Later, I maybe will do a series of videos on Guix. Maybe it will be a part of Guile series on Guile development. Maybe it will be a part of Guix series. But I will explain how to efficiently develop stuff using REPL and without switching between CLI and REPL, and do one part of the workflow in REPL and another part of the workflow in CLI, and to actually shorten the feedback loop of your development process. Okay. Oh, maybe it was a stream about feedback loop, where we tried to shorten the feedback loop for the Guile development. It's very likely. Okay, let's get back to our Combobulate EL package. First of all, HTML TS mod enabled, and Combobulate mod. And here we have a transient interface which shows all the hotkeys for Combobulate package. And now let's try something. Alt A. Oh, it's at the bottom of the screen. We even see a syntax tree. Logical. You can see the navigation, the structural navigation already works. Very nice. Forward sexp. You can see that it's not actually a sexp, it's just a node, but I can go to the beginning and the end of h2 tag, and let's do the same for the paragraph tag, and that works quite good. Hierarchical, down into list, up list, up list, down list. Okay. Beginning of define, end of define. Somehow works. Mark define. Mark define. Expand region. You see that expand region now works semantically, and let's say we here inside our string, and let's call this interface, and expand region highlights the whole tag, self-closing tag, which is okay, but I expected it to be more granular and highlight the attribute value first, and after that attribute, and after that the whole tag, but it's okay. And how mark define works? Mark define also expands to the outer tags. And let's see something related to editing. Do we have some functionality to shrink the highlighted region? Unfortunately, I didn't find the key to discard highlighting. Transpose sexp. We see it works. It works as expected. And let's too big. You can see how it works. It works flawlessly. I actually missed this transposed sexp functionality, and actually I would like also some kind of moving around the thing. Drag node up, you can see in experimental drag node up function. it works not perfectly well. I would expect it to work similar to transpose exp, but let's see. One more time. Shift Alt P. It somehow works, but not very satisfying. Okay, let's see what else we have. Vanish parent, splice up from point, splice down from point. Clone node, do what I mean. Edit node cluster. Actually, what is? No valid procedures that apply to A. Okay, let's clone node. There are no choices to make. Okay, let's kill. Oh, kill works. It works. Very nice. That means that I can use it, to kill the whole tag and eat content. It doesn't kill line, it doesn't kill, some nonsense, but it actually takes a structural part of the source code and operates on it. And I really like it. Very cool. Very, very nice. Like it. I like it. What else? Vanish parent. Okay. What if we do it here? Not clear what does it mean, but okay. Let's envelop. Envelop is something that should wrap an expression in brackets or something else, I guess. Not sure how Combobulate envelope works. Envelope not on or around point with a template. Huh. Okay, I'm not sure how it works. I will need to take a look at the implementation to figure it out. Jump to nearby defun. Okay, it's some kind of integration with AV, which I don't have. which probably allows to jump around using a few letters. Like you call this function, and near all the objects appears a few symbols that you can type to go to this object, like you know, teleportation to the exact position. Okay, it's already cool that we can kill, transpose, and do some other fancy stuff using tree-setter and Combobulate package. It's of course not complete implementation and not universal. I would say it's more like an experimental implementation, but it's already quite impressive. Oh, it's a lot of comments here. David Connor says not having most REPL functions working with geyser Guix in Doom Emacs was a major impediment for me when getting started a while ago. I am moving away from Doom Emacs though, or trying. I'm not sure if it is related to the Doom Emacs itself, because as far as I know, they don't do too much to the geyser. But maybe it's related, I don't know. Anyway, experience with geyser and Guix was quite frustrating for me previously, and I had to try and experiment a lot to get a working setup. And also a lot of updates happened to geyser since, I don't know, since I started to use Guix, and right now it's in almost very usable state, but it requires some tweaks here and there, but still it is already much better and works much more reliable right now. That is why it probably will work in Doom Emacs too, but I'm not sure. Demis says, I need to continue working now, or we'll watch the rest later. Have a nice day. Have a nice day too, Demis. I'm very glad that you joined and spent some time with us. Structural editing is where Lisp shines. This looks cool. You're right. Structural editing is much easier to implement in the Lisp world, because you know the syntax is very regular and it's much easier to implement paradit and smart parents. But I still think that tree-setter is very beneficial for the Lisp, because you won't need to do hacky implementations, to use regular expressions and other stuff. You will be able to just use the parsed syntax tree, and using this parsed syntax tree operate on the actual source code. And it also will be a solution that works not only for Lisp but for all other languages, and it will make it more uniform to work with different languages. And it's important. You will blur the line between languages in some point of time, and actually it won't matter too much if you use JavaScript, ClojureScript, Guile, or something else. It will be the same, just with a different representation for, brackets and maybe some elements, but under the hood it will be the same syntax tree, just with fancy representation. I loved David Connor says, I loved working with Clojure Cider and running tests in REPL. I'm looking forward to getting a similar workflow. That's very true. Actually, I'm a Clojure programmer as well. I spent a lot of time writing Clojure code, and I really enjoy how Cider and other stuff in Clojure works in Emacs right now. It's not yet perfect, but it's very, very good. And running tests is also a pleasure in Cider right now, because you can run project tests or a particular test or a test for your namespace. And recently I made a small project in Clojure which uses integrand and all other stuff, and I made a quite good workflow which allows to reload the whole project and launch the tests for parts of it in very specific manner that I can test only the things I'm currently working on and save a lot of time. And I would like to get the similar experience for developing RD and Guix. And that is why on the few last streams we were working on exploring Surface 69 API for tests in Scheme language. And also we thought about the ways how we can implement the workflow similar to the one I had in Clojure. And we're not yet done with it yet, but I think we will be able to replicate or mimic a similar workflow. It will require a lot of work, maybe not really a lot, but a few more weeks, I guess, and we will get something very similar and enjoyable as we have in Clojure. Okay, we did a lot of things today. We packaged our tree-setter grammar for HTML. We loaded it in Emacs. Before the stream, we even enabled tree-setter support in Emacs package in Guix repository. Also, we packaged Combobulate and was able to utilize this new tree-setter capability from a newer version of Emacs to do actual structural editing and navigation, which is brilliant. And that's what I expecting us to accomplish today, and we actually did it. Okay, I will say for the conclusion of the stream, the structural editing is a future, and it's of course my opinion and can be wrong opinion, but I really hope that we will get rid of the files and text-based serialization for the source code and other stuff that complicates development tools for developers, and we will get a nice data-based representation of the source code, which will be stored in some kind of, not a file system, but a kind of database, and we will make it much more easier to operate on the source code, and we will bring the flavor of the Lisp to all programming languages. And that's a task for the future, but now with tree-setter and many other stuff happening in this direction, it seems much more realistic than it was a few years ago. And after that, we have even more tasks like content addressable source code and some other fancy stuff. But for now, it's already a lot of work towards a brighter future for the development world. Okay, thank you very much for joining today's streams. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in a bit.